Okay, let's continue. So, the war between India and Madras should be finished soon. Okay. It seems as if the Netherlands has joined the Reichspact. As I thought they would. Even though it seemed like they were going to go neutral for a while, but I guess not. So the only neutral countries in Europe are Greece, Yugoslavia, Spain, Sweden, and Ukraine and its puppet states. I don't know why Yugoslavia decided to let Bulgaria free, but hang on. Let me see if I can do something about that. Okay. Now Yugoslavia can be a true South Slavic union that includes Bulgaria. It's just cooler, what can I say? This should mean that Insulandia will be defeated soon, since the whole Reichspakt is at war with them. And the Chinese-Japanese war, or whatever, is still in a stalemate, but Madras is close to being defeated. Switch to volunteer only and civilian economy. I guess I could go for free trade. apparently Venezuela is improving relations with other social democratic nations. That's pretty cool. And apparently Colombia has become a radical socialist country under President Jorge Eliezer Gaitán. Hope I pronounced that right. I think I did. Costa Rican Madras War. Well, technically it should be the Indian Madras War, but that's the game for you sometimes. Okay, apparently Central America is now a democratic nation under a market liberal government under President Jose Angel Zuniga Huete. Not sure which of the Central American countries he's from, but Mexico's still totalist, so that's very weird. I could fix that in console commands and maybe create something cool, but whatever. Okay, Madras has finally been annexed by the Dominion of India. So finally, almost 20 years after the British Revolution of 1925, India is once again united. But now it's an independent nation, and it's united as an independent nation instead of a British colony, but still a dominion of the British Empire. So it's like an independent country, but still has ties to Great Britain. But hey, at least it's unified now, so that's pretty cool. Muscat has joined the Entente, which makes sense considering Oman, or Muscat, previously had a lot of ties to the British Empire. So that does make sense. Okay, apparently, this guy was from Honduras. Just looked it up. Okay, back to the train. Let me research more naval tech. Okay, Insulandia will be defeated soon. Okay, this is kind of bothering me, so let me do something. Wouldn't it make sense for the Dominion of India to puppet Burma? But there's a few different states that can create, was it the Shan Confederacy? They can create Kachin and the Shan Confederacy. What would that look like? This actually looks pretty cool. These might just be generic leaders, though. Hang on. Yeah, I think it'd make more sense for the Dominion of India to just puppet Burma as one country. Guess they can puppet the Shan Confederacy. Why not puppet both? Okay, so this is pretty cool. I think this guy might be just a generic leader. So be it. Let's continue as Ukraine. Something was going on in Tibet, but I kind of don't know what it is, whatever. Or what it was, but whatever. Okay, so Insulandia should be defeated soon. They literally just have the island of Java and these two islands. Yeah, I'm surprised Russia didn't go to war with Japan over Chamzamur. Apparently, well, Russia's supporting Insulandia in their rebellion, and they're becoming friendly with Chile, but I don't know why. I think India would also release Ceylon as a puppet state, wouldn't they? I think they would. Hang on. Now, was this person... Oh, is this another generic portrait? Okay, there. I know this person, Oliver Ernest Guntilek, or however you pronounce that. Hope I'm getting it right. Oliver Ernest Guntileke. Well, at least I tried. But anyways, I know he was a real person, so yeah. Let me see something. Yeah, I don't know if they have real leaders either, but whatever. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if these two countries, Kachin and Shan, have real life leaders coded into the game yet, but whatever. Back to Ukraine. Usually leader Cuba. Oh, it's Martin Diaz Tamayo, who rules as a military dictator. I can't see Mexico tolerating a market liberal nation on their borders, or as their puppet state, so just to make this a little more plausible, let me do something. There we go. Okay. They can always return that to the West Indies Federation, but I guess I don't see them doing that. Hang on, I have a better idea. Okay, I have a better idea. There we go. Okay, so now Mexico has these 4 Central American nations as puppet states, all under totalist governments. And I guess this could make sense lore-wise. I don't know, maybe the Mexican military overthrew the previous regime. That could make sense lore-wise. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and Nicaragua are all Mexican totalist puppet states. That honestly makes more sense. And apparently the Dominican Republic and Haiti have had the same presidents for like almost a decade. Alright, Batavia should fall soon. Okay, I'll trade with the USA and with Yugoslavia. That sounds good. Legislate freedoms. I'll do that. Okay. So Nicaragua annexed Costa Rica. That's interesting. But shouldn't that be Mexican territory then? Let me fix this. Okay, now Costa Rica is also a Mexican totalist puppet state. Okay, so Costa Rica is no longer in the Entente, and now it's known as Costa del Pueblo. So yeah, Costa Rica in Spanish means rich coast. Costa del Pueblo in Spanish means people's coast. Pueblo can also mean town, but in this context it means people. I'm surprised America isn't going to invade Mexico to get rid of, I guess, the Red Menace, but whatever. What country? Oh, what the heck is that? Why does the West Indies Federation have land? Might just be a bug or something. Who knows? Should be Tibetan. Okay, there it is. That's just a bug. There's a glitch in the matrix. What can I say? Maybe I can pick a new continuous focus. I think I'm good with this. Iceland is neutral too. Denmark finally gave them independence. And they're led by Prime Minister Stefan Johan Stefansson. Okay, so the year of 1945 is half over, and I'll end this game when we get to New Year's Day of 1946, so we can have a 10-year playthrough. Anyways, let's do a little epilogue. So this is post-war Europe, and I'm playing as the Kingdom of Ukraine, and I'm led by Danil I of the House of Skoropadsky under a social conservative government, and the ruling party is VIN, which stands for Vida I Narod, Faith in Nation, and yeah, so that's Ukraine. And in the aftermath of the Second Weltkrieg and the Austrian War, Ukraine managed to expand its borders into the Caucasus, and they managed to create a lot of new puppet states in not just the Caucasus, but in Eastern and Central Europe. And Ukraine has a few puppet states: Romania, Transylvania, Hungary, Slovakia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. So the Kingdom of Ukraine is now a European regional power, and it's very strong, and it's a very influential regional power now, and it's no longer a member of the Reichspakt. It is its own regional power. Speaking of the Reichspakt, Germany is still leading it, and this is what the faction map looks like. Ukraine and its puppet states are independent, part of no faction, just doing their own thing. And this is the Reichspakt, which consists of the German Empire, which aside from Switzerland, which is its puppet state, it controls all of the German-speaking areas of... Okay, I didn't see that. Well, basically, Germany controls all of the German-speaking regions of Europe, which is pretty cool. Because after the Austrian War, it annexed Austria and the German lands in Bohemia. And after the Second Weltkrieg against the Third Internationale, Germany gained the puppet state of the French Kingdom. And after the Austrian War, it gained the puppet state of Czechia. And Poland. It regained the puppet state of Poland and annexed the Polish border strip. And it also has puppet states in Estonia and Latvia. Lithuania is also a puppet state, and democracy was restored to Lithuania by Germany after the nationalists took over. And Finland's also a member of the Reichspakt. So yeah, and so is Belgium. And the Reichspakt, okay, the Two Sicilies is also a member of the Reichspakt, and you can't forget about Right Ruthenia, which once was syndicalist, but democracy was restored to it by Germany. And Ireland is also a member of the Reichspakt. And there's only a few neutral nations in Europe. Spain, the Hellenic Socialist Republic, which is under a syndicalist government, Sweden, Yugoslavia, and Ukraine and its puppet states. And the Reichspakt spreads across the globe with African colonies and puppet states, and with South Africa, in America with Cuba. So yeah, and also there's the Entente led by Canada, but they also have the British Reconstruction Authority after their victorious war against the Union of Britain in the Third Internationale in the Second Weltkrieg. And they also have a few other members in Europe. The Kingdom of Sardinia-Piedmont, the Kingdom of France, which is a rival to the French Kingdom, confusing I know, the Kingdom of Portugal, and Norway. So the Reichspakt is more powerful in Europe, but the Entente still has a lot of power in Europe. And they also have power in Africa, with French and Italian, with French colonies, but also Italy has the puppet state of Tripolitania. And the Entente also has the Dominion of India and its puppet states in Asia, and Muscat is also a member of the Entente. And there's Canada in North America, so now Canada is a very prominent world power as the leader of the Entente with many world obligations. And the Entente has other members in the Americas, like the West Indies Federation and Panama. Costa Rica was a member, but it's not anymore. And also in the Americas, in Latin America, we can see the Buenos Aires-Lima axis, which is made up of many authoritarian nations in South America. Argentina used to be national populist, but Pedro Pablo Ramirez took over, so now it's authoritarian democrat. So that's the Buenos Aires-Lima axis. And Bolivia is a syndicalist country. Brazil is under the dictatorship of Getulio Vargas. Colombia is radical socialist. So the only democratic countries in Latin America are Venezuela under President Diogenes Escalante, and Ecuador under President Isidro Oroya. So those are the last two democracies in Latin America. Along with the Dominican Republic and sort of Haiti. So these four, Venezuela, Ecuador, Dominican Republic, Haiti, are the last democratic nations in Latin America. And I'm not sure you could really count Haiti as democratic, since they're kind of like authoritarian democratic. So the last three democratic nations in Latin America are Venezuela, Ecuador, and the Dominican Republic. And Mexico is under a totalist government and has totalist puppet states in Central America, save for Panama, of course. And as we can see, Insulandia was just annexed by the Dutch East Indies, no doubt with help from the Reichspakt, and the Dominion of India is invading Siam. Okay, so Siam is a non-aligned country. And apparently... Oh, what the heck is this? Why did that just happen? Well, apparently the Netherlands now directly owns certain parts of the Dutch East Indies, but hang on a second. Why did Germany have to start World War III? That's not plausible at all. Jeez, Germany, what the heck? Okay. Alright, back to my little epilogue. There we go. So, the Entente I mentioned is also very powerful around the world. And that includes in Australasia with, well, Australasia, which includes, Australasia consists of Australia, New Zealand, and the Australian territory of Papua New Guinea, as well as some Australian territories in the Pacific, like Fiji. And of course, let's not forget about the Reichspakt's colony of German East Asia, which is very influential in Asia and the Pacific. And of course, let's not forget about, the Dutch East Indies and the Reichspakt. And And the only really non-aligned country in Southeast Asia is Thailand, or Siam, which is at war with the Dominion of India and its puppet states. So that could change soon. Anyways, let's get back to the game. So, and I did mention South Africa is a part of the Reichspakt, and the only, like, independent countries in South Africa in regards to factions are Abyssinia, which has a puppet state in Somalia. Well, Somalia is a puppet state of Abyssinia, but the point still stands. And also there's Liberia, which is also independent and non-aligned, but is improving relations with the Netherlands for some reason. Anyways, yeah, okay, so the Insulandian Revolution is over, and the Dutch East Indies has taken over. So, let's not forget about the co-prosperity sphere, which is led by Japan, which is under a democratic market liberal government. And the co-prosperity sphere includes the Fengtian government in Manchuria and other parts of northern China. Also in the Chinese region of Inner Mongolia. There's also the Trans-Amur Republic and the Philippines, which is also a member of the co-prosperity sphere. So unlike in real life, the co-prosperity sphere is made up of democratic nations, even if it is still, you know, a sort of Japanese imperialistic pet project. And there's also the Sino coalition of the Qing Empire and the Yunnan clique, and the Qing Empire is under a national populist government. And there's other Chinese factions like Chongqing Taqiao, but it's not aligned. Tibet is a puppet state of Russia. So is Mongolia. And let's get to Russia. Russia is a major power, but it's not part of any faction. And it's right now under a radical socialist government led by Vasily Maklakov. And its main puppet states are Tibet and Mongolia. And another major independent power, independent faction-wise, is the Ottoman Empire, which is now under Sultan Ahmed VI, since Abdülmecid II passed away in 1944, I believe. And the Ottoman Empire emerged victorious from the war with the Cairo Pact, and now owns Arabia as a puppet state, Iran as a puppet state, and Egypt and Sudan as puppet states. And they restored the Khedivate of Egypt. And Abbas II is now king of Egypt. I believe he was king previously, before the British basically ousted him. And this is an interesting development. The United States of America is now a part of the Reichspakt. So now I can only imagine that the American-Canadian border would be quite tense. So, I believe that's the whole entire world. There's Yemen, which is also a puppet of the Ottoman Empire. Couldn't have forgotten about that. The Ottoman Empire basically dominates the Middle East. There's Afghanistan, which is independent. Nepal, which is independent. They're just minor countries. So yeah, I mean, basically, that's the whole world. And I forgot to mention that, I think I did mention Bolivia being under a syndicalist government. So the Entente certainly has its work cut out for it, what with the United States of America joining the Reichspakt. And the United States of America is under the dictatorial presidency of Huey Long, since the American Union State won the Second American Civil War. And there'll be elections again in November 1948. Let's not forget about Hawaii. They're not a part of America anymore, they're a part of the Reichspakt. Couldn't have forgotten about them. And Guam, which once was a part of the United States, is now part of the Philippines. And Puerto Rico, which once was a part of the United States, is part of the West Indies Federation. And the West Indies Federation owns most of the smaller islands in the Caribbean, except for St. Martin, which is Dutch. And Suriname is also Dutch, but Guyana and French Guiana are part of the West Indies Federation. So basically, the United States lost some land in the Civil War, but they're still a world superpower. And they seem to be recovering quite well. And Sardinia-Piedmont has a few puppet states in Italy: Modena, the Papal State, Tuscany, and their rival is the Two Sicilies, which is a member of the Reichspakt. So, and I forgot to mention Albania is also a member of the Reichspakt. So basically, that's this whole world. And Iceland is also a neutral country in Europe. I forgot to mention that. Alright, so that's basically this whole world. Yeah, and what's going on here? I guess part of the Dutch East Indies is being ruled as the Dutch East Indies, but the rest of it is under the direct control of the Netherlands. So direct rule from Amsterdam is being enacted in most of the Dutch East Indies. Or direct rule from The Hague, depending on how you'd like to put it. But anyways. And of course the legation cities are neutral, another neutral minor nation. And Sir Cecil Clementi is still leader of the legation cities. And, yeah, that's basically the whole world. I basically covered everything. Greenland is still Greenland's a part of Canada. Denmark gave it over to them in the lead up to the Second Weltkrieg, apparently. And basically, this is the whole world. And Middle Africa, the German colony of Middle Africa, they got rid of Hermann Goering, and they've gone through a few different governors. One of them now is Walther Rathenau, and they have a few different puppet states. The Nigerian Free State. So basically, Middle Africa is undergoing a gradual process of decolonization, and they have a few different puppet states, decolonized puppet states. The Nigerian Free State, led by the British colonial administration, led by the British colonial administration. Okay, so Middle Africa has a few different puppet states, as it's in a gradual state of decolonization, and these include the Nigerian Free State, led by Sir Edward Twining, and that's the same Twining as the Tea Company. He was a member of that family, and he was a colonial administrator. And we have the Kenyan Free State, led by the British soldier Ray Leakey. We have Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, the Zambia Nyasaland Free State, Garangaze, also known as Katongaland, and the Teke Free State. And Germany still has its colony in Djibouti and Berbera, and they still own Madagascar. Okay. And the Dominion of India has a few puppet states in Burma, Ceylon, and they also have the puppet states of Kachin and the Shan Confederacy. Or the Shan Federation, my bad. So yeah, the Kachin Republic and the Shan Federation are puppet states in the Dominion of India, as well as Burma and Ceylon. And now the Dominion of India is at war with Siam. And the war between the Co-Prosperity Sphere, led by Japan, and the Qing Empire and its Sino coalition, really has no end in sight. It's basically a total stalemate. And Russia itself, despite being under a radical socialist government, is still a democratic republic and a democratic country. Okay, so that's basically the state of the world. And apparently the Suez Canal is no longer under German control, but under Egyptian control, which is good not only for Egypt, but also for the Ottoman Empire, as they're Egypt's master. Okay, so that's basically the whole world. I basically covered everything. And let's not forget Ukraine, which has become a major regional power in Central Europe, Eastern Europe and the Caucasus, and basically could form its own block of nations if it wanted to. And honestly, with this whole world setup, this is it's a good setup, and it's the setup for a very interesting Cold War scenario. So I think this is pretty cool. I'll say that. So that is the state of the world in 1945, and it certainly will be the state of the world on January 1st, New Year's Day of 1946, which will come soon. Alright. Hang on. Okay. It is January 1st of 1946. 10 years after the beginning of the game. And, we're basically done. The only wars that are still going on are the Indian-Siamese War, which is turning into a stalemate, and the war between the Qing and Japan, which is also a stalemate and has been for many years. So honestly, this is a very interesting setup for a future Cold War. And Ukraine has come out very good as a potential independent power with its own block of nations. Well, it is an independent power, but it's come out of the Second Weltkrieg and other conflicts as a potential influential regional power with its own block of nations and everything. So honestly, Ukraine has done good for itself. And that is all. The Kingdom of Ukraine has a 29 score, 45th, not bad. Leader is Daniel I, ideology social conservatives, government social conservative, ruling party VIN, and the faction strengths are the Sino Coalition at 19, Co-Prosperity Sphere at 19, Reichspakt 14, Entente 11, and Buenos Aires Lima Axis 5. So the total score, it's basically, I have a score of 29, so I'm 45th, which isn't too bad, considering my whole geopolitical situation. So yeah, but the German Empire and the United States of America and the Russian Empire, okay, so the German Empire is the most powerful nation in the world, followed by the United States of America, then Russia, Japan, the Kingdom of France, Sardinia-Piedmont, AOG, which is a German colony, Canada, India, Australasia, Argentina, Belgium. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then it's Brazil, 2 Sicilies, South Africa. So those are the top 15. And top 20 would be Bangtian, Ottoman Empire, Sweden, Spain, Middle Africa. So yeah. Honestly, I didn't do too bad. Alright, that's all.